Namo Buddhaya to all. Welcome to Dhamma Sisila 23rd program. We would like to welcome our most venerable sirs to this evening to our program, especially most venerable Dr. Singapore Silasuman Naik Hamduro, also most venerable Dikwalle Silasumana Pandit Hamduran Vahanse. It's a great honor and a blessing for all of us to have these very senior and eminent Buddhist monks are here in our temple these days. So today the program is being sponsored by Mrs. Anagi De Silva. She wanted to invoke the blessings to parents, Mrs. Bimala De Silva, also Dr. Chandrapala De Silva, also to wish all the best in the studies of their master studies, to the two daughters, Dinu and Anuradha Ratna Singha. Also, she wanted to share the blessing with all the members of the Sangha, the celestial beings, Devas, and everyone in the whole world, whole universe. You can also sponsor these programs, Dhamma Danang, Sabba Danang Jinati. This is the highest form of blessing, form of dana that one can practice, share the teachings of the Buddha. We don't have anyone for the forthcoming weeks. If you would like to take part in this program, to support, to host these programs, the availabilities are there in the forthcoming weeks. To start the program, we are going to observe the 5 precepts. I would like to invite our most venerable Dr. Sumana Sirinayaka Hamduro to administer in 5 precepts. Namo Buddhaya. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Dhamma Sisila 23rd program. This Dhamma forum invite you all to explore the teachings of the Buddha and enhance the quality of our life. Today, our subject is the benefits of meditation. When we hear the word meditation, instantly our attention goes to the mind. Even in the handbook of the Buddhist, Dhammapada begins with a very important stanza. Mind is the forerunner, mind is the master. If the mind is being ill-directed, suffering, difficulties, problems follows. If the mind directs in the positive, wholesome, good way, you reap the benefits of contentment, fulfillment, joy, peace, well-being, and progress in this very life. So here it very clearly explains that we can master the mind. Rather, we become a slave to our mind. So the meditation is art of making the mind a master. Rather, being a slave to the mind. The subject we call meditation today, the word is being used called bhavana. In Pali we call bhavana, Japanese people may say it Zen, English people will say it meditation, Chinese will may say Chan. Whatever it is, this one is to cultivate, develop the mind. Even the original word bhavana is cultivating the mind, to develop. Mind is something that need to be developed. Undeveloped mind can cause lot of problems. Problems can count as stress or anxiety, depressions, ineffectiveness of life, or even psychosomatic disorders. Even in the practical life, lack of concentration, leading even to losing memory, Alzheimer, dementia, that type of things can cause so many problems. Lord Buddha taught many different types of meditation, each designed to overcome particular problem or to develop a particular psychological state. For those meditations means to transform the mind. Buddhist meditation practices especially encourage and develop our concentration, clarity, emotional positivity, and also seeing of the true nature of things. By engaging different practices, we improve aspects of our mind, and by repeatedly cultivating of that quality and the state of mind, we develop one great quality called patience. Once Buddha said, Kanti Paraman Tapo Titikka. He said that patience is the highest meditation. So here we may have some mystical and hierarchical, maybe ideological meanings to meditation. But Buddha said that patience and meditation equals, similar words. That patience help us to gain our sanity, happiness, in fact, the heaven on this earth. Impatience leads us into the hell. Meditation help us to increase our skills and eliminate unskillful characteristics in the life. The teachings of the Buddha offer a great variety of methods of mental training and also subjects of meditation suitable to various individuals and also different needs, sometimes different temperaments, also to different capabilities. However, all these methods ultimately lead into the one way. So there are different types of meditation. Even once explained about 40 subjects of meditation, 40 types of meditation. All these different types of meditation leads into one way of meditation called Ekayano Ayan Maggo, the only way. This only way is being explained as mindfulness meditation. In that sense, the meditation can be developed in different ways. First stage is called sati, the mindfulness. Being able to do things with the clear mind, peaceful mind, and maintaining an everyday life without making conflicts and difficulties. So that's called the stage 1, sati, the mindfulness. The stage 2, samadhi, developing concentration. What is the difference between sati and samadhi? Sati is to pay attention to things that we normally do in everyday life. Concentration means to maintain the durability of that. For example, we can live few minutes without getting angry, maybe 10 minutes. That 10 minutes is maintaining our concentration, not to let the mind to be impure with negative emotions. That's concentration. Once that concentration is dropped, then we have to establish ourselves once again in the mindfulness, the attention, concentration. So the stage 2 is concentration. Stage 3 is samatha, that means tranquility, deep stillness. Stage 4 is called vipassana or insight meditation. Stage 5 is called abhinya or supermundane powers. So those different types of meditation serves for a different temperaments, different needs, different characteristics, and also different capabilities. According to the Buddhist teachings, Buddha expects us to do three things to improve our life. One is to avoid from unwholesome activities, evil, and then engage ourselves to do good. And the third one is to cultivate the mind, improve the mind. This is what we normally count as meditation. Even there are three practices being mentioned. One is called giving, dana. The second one is called morality, sila. Third one is called bhavana, meditation. Meditation helps us to develop a skillful life and avoid an unskillful life. The main meditation that we can reflect in the Buddhist teachings is mindfulness, because all these subjects of different subjects of meditation can fall into this. This mindfulness meditation is as practiced today as it was 2500 years, 600 years ago. So it is applicable in the West or in the East without any difference. So it is applicable to anybody. You don't have to oblige into a particular teachings. Anybody can practice it without having any difficulties of the part of the world we live in. The purpose of that meditation is to overcome the sorrow and misery, also the destruction of pain and grief. The final purpose, the more higher purpose of the meditation practice is to overcome the suffering by eradicating three defilements, three impurities: greed, hatred, and ignorance. When we apply ourselves to overcome the greed, hatred, and ignorance, our mind naturally improves and become skillful. When we do not practice meditation, our mind started to acquire all these negative things and make our life unskillful. Let me give you an practical example. A mirror. When the mirror is there, it naturally gets dust and all dirty things being left on it. If that is so, we can't see the reflection of ourselves in the mirror. Due to our faculties of eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, and the information comes from the external world, so like a mirror, our mind can be polluted. That will make the negative qualities improve and our life become very unskillful. To clean that mind, to improve the quality of that mind, Buddha recommended two different types of meditation. One is called Samatha Bhavana, the calming meditation or tranquility practice. The other one is called insight meditation, Vipassana practice. In fact, this calm meditation and tranquility meditation are not necessarily two in the Buddhist teachings, because they have a lot of identical things. Even though we can separate for the needs or temperaments or capabilities, they both goes hand by hand. For example, if somebody asks me to show the palm, when I show the palm, indirectly the back side of the palm is also there. When somebody asks me to show the back of my palm, I am also showing the other side of the palm. So it goes to get by hand. Even the meditation subjects talks about Visuddhimagga, which is path of purification. Those 40 subjects of meditation all comes under the Samatha meditation, calming or tranquility meditations. It is difficult to separate them, but it serves in two different levels, two different ways. Samatha meditation is the approach, that means to make the mind clear, still, calm. The example we can get is like a pond. If the pond water is being disturbed, we can't really see through the water. When we let that water to get still and clear, then we can see through what is in the pond. In the same way, the Samatha meditation, the concentration meditation, helps the person to get the mind still. Only in that mind we can see things as they are. So the insight meditation is to improve the wise reflection to understand the things as they are. Without that quality of the still mind, of clarity of the mind, we can't improve the insight meditation. Insight meditation, when we see things as they are, what do we see? Is what really about insight meditation. We see these three universal characteristics. Nature of change, which we call impermanent. unsatisfactoriness, and no self or selfless nature. These three universal characteristics need to be cultivated, and that practice, in brief, can be called insight meditation or vipassana practice. If our mind is very deluded or very disturbed, very busy, it is not possible for that person to see these realities as it is. The person started to get more confusion, more argument, more stress, because mind is not still. It is like a glass of maybe juice. When you pour the juice into the glass, you can see a lot of particles in there. When you leave it for a few seconds or few minutes, those particles started to settle, and then the drink get more clearer. In the same way, when we leave the mind with certain subjects and repeatedly focus on it, it helps to improve the concentration. As a result, we can really see what is in the mind, what is happening around us, the nature of our emotions. For that, we have to establish this focus or awareness in 4 postures. In some other places, normally it says meditation in simple is 4 P's. The first P is the posture, and then the other one is place, other P is the practice, and then the last P is for problems. So those 4, the first one for a person to practice meditation, place. Place is a very important thing, and that requires somewhat calm, quiet, suitable. Second one, the person need to develop a good posture. Normally there are not many postures in meditation explained in the Buddhist teachings. There are 4 postures: sitting, standing, lying down, walking. In all these 4 postures, we need to develop the clarity of our mind. And then practice. Practice based on any of those different types of meditations. The common meditation practice could be the breathing meditation, loving kindness meditation. There are 4 types of protection meditations. The first one is called the qualities of the Buddha. Recollecting the qualities of the Buddha is the first protection meditation. The second protection meditation is loving kindness meditation. Third protection meditation is recollecting the nature of death. And the last meditation practice is to contemplate the true nature of the body, which sometimes translate as impurities of the body or repulsiveness of the true nature of the body. However, simple translation is to understand the nature of body as it is. So those are 4 protection meditations. In addition to those 4 protection meditations, when we go into the mindfulness teaching, there are 4 frames of mindfulness practice. The first frame is called body awareness practice. Second frame is called feeling mindfulness, awareness of the feeling. Third one is called mindfulness of the mind. And the fourth frame is called mindfulness on phenomena, the Dhamma, the nature of things. Those are the 4 different types of frames explained in the mindfulness meditation teachings. Now, that is a little bit of an brief explanation about the Buddhist meditation. Even before the Buddha, meditation was available. What Buddha mentioned, what Buddha did is to put them into a more meaningful, effective, based on health and well-being practice. Sometimes people used to use the meditation practice for some magical and mystical things. Buddha found very little meaning on it. Even himself experienced and gained all these supernatural skills. Once, I will give an example. Once a person at the time of the Buddha was waiting to cross a river, and he was waiting for the ferry because the ferry was in the other shore. While Buddha and the monks and the other people were waiting, another religious person came, and he supposed to be a meditation master, and he came and asked where is the ferry, and the people said that has gone to drop some people to the other side, and we have to wait about few more minutes until it comes. So this person instantly create his psychic powers and cross the river to go into the other part of the river. Everybody was amazed and turned to the Buddha. You are also a great master. Why can't you do something like that? Then Buddha asked from the people how much the person charged to take us in the ferry to the other side. It was about, in our currency, maybe 50p or 10p. Then Buddha said, I don't do any miracles or magics for 10p's because it's a very cheap thing to do. So that explains the purpose of Buddhist meditation, not necessarily to do miracles. Even the recently what we say that miracle is not to walk on the water. Miracle is to walk on earth peacefully and happily. The people who walk on water shows the miracles, but if you look into their practical real life, their life is going through a lot of difficulties. They can't get on with their own relationships, and they don't find the peace and happiness in this very life. But they are very good in making miracles. So actual purpose of the meditation is to improve the quality of this life and eventually overcome these suffering by eliminating greed, hatred, and ignorance, attain the final liberation. For that purpose, we need to understand what is meditation and what is not meditation. Meditation is disciplining the mind. It is not doing nothing. Many people say that meditation is doing nothing. Meditation needs some effort. We call virya. It is not really having a rest. Meditation is not dreaming or visualizing, fantasizing. It requires constant and precise awareness. Meditation is not to make the mind blank. Even in the neuroscience, they did research and they published that even many people says that they try to blank the mind. They give an example of 2 light bulbs. when they ask the group of people to blank the mind, it shows that their light is fully on, because so many things underneath of the mind goes on. The mind is constantly working. When they say focus on one at a time, rather blanking the mind, for example, just pay attention to the breath or practice some loving kindness meditation, their light bulb was not switched on, which means by paying attention one at a time, they can clear the mind. Whereas when they say they blank the mind, mind works more than before. So therefore, it is not necessarily blanking the mind. Some people say it's kind of a hypnotism. It is not hypnotism, it is controlled awareness of the mind, developing this control awareness. Meditation is again not discursive thoughts or prayer. It is to eliminate such random discursive thoughts. Again, we are not trying to get rid of something in my meditation practice. It is to be in with the present moment and to understand things as they are. So this is bit of going little bit into more practical life, what meditation is. Then what are the benefits of meditation? There are two types of meditation. One is called awareness development meditations, improving the mindfulness and awareness. The other part is of improving the compassion. Loving kindness compassion meditation is very popular meditation because it's a very powerful therapeutic meditation. The one who practices mindfulness loving kindness meditation sleeps well, wakes up very easily, never get disturbed or bad dreams in the sleep, and even loved by people, which means sometimes you find people who are difficult to deal with. When you practice more loving kindness, that started to make a difference in them. Sometimes not only the humans, even divines, even animals started to see the difference of the person. Not only they like, even they protect the person who practice. Even the external dangers can be avoided as explained in the original teachings by practicing meditation loving kindness. The person who practice loving kindness metta, the face become very beautiful, radiant, peaceful. Not only the face, even their mind becomes serene. And out of those 11 benefits, the 10th one is the person, we all die one day. Many people really don't have a peaceful death because they feel a lot of disturbances at the last moments. The person who practices loving kindness meditation dies very peacefully because he or she has developed unconfused, cultivated nature of the mind. It's a benefit of meditation. Then the last benefit explained in the loving kindness meditation is the person goes into a better place, better existence if they haven't liberated themselves in this very life. That is a simple benefits of loving kindness meditation. When we think of little bit for the more scientific perspective, sometimes we call the mind to our heart, sometimes we call the mind to our consciousness, the awareness. Sometimes we can refer the mind into the brain. When we reflect on the brain has three main aspects: front, middle, and the back. When we pay attention from the forefront of the brain, the message goes into the midbrain. When someone is not practicing passive meditations, the midbrain can get a little bit anxious and agitated and started asking more hemoglobin, more energy, more sugar. The body started working hard to generate that energy. As a result, it can be exhausted and end up being stress, anxiety, depression, pressure, blood pressure, heart problems, and cardio problems, and so many complications can be developed. Whereas if the person practice few minutes meditation, when they pay attention from the forefront of the brain, when the message goes into the midbrain, midbrain doesn't require that much of energy, doesn't have to ask for more hemoglobin, more energy, more sugar. Normally what it explained that we have a left side and the right side of the brain. Left side is more associated with thinking, organizing, analyzing, criticizing, most of the things that we do. Whereas the right side of the brain is associated with holistic aspect, calm, relax, more meaningful. When the person practice meditation, improves this right side of the brain to compromise with the everyday activities and to do it more meaningfully. If that is not being done, when we encounter the situation, maybe an exam, or maybe some other education, very demanding situations, writing our theses and getting ready for our studies, that can develop a lot of panicking. The reason is, as we haven't developed the meditation practice, due to that stress, that can activate adrenaline releasing nervous system. When we start practicing meditation, it develops parasympathetic nervous system, activate parasympathetic nervous system to keep us calm, keep us focused, keep us clear in the mind, so that we can utilize our time meaningfully and make lot of benefits without engaging ourselves very difficulties and hardships. So in that manner, there are lots of scientific evidence being found in the neuroscience. A lot of research is being done in the neuroscience to explain that mainly the Buddhist meditation has very meaningful impact on the well-being and happiness. Let me also reflect a little bit of the questions asked previously about this mind, Prabhassara midam bhikkave chittam, which means at the beginning of our mind is like a clear seat. That also mentioned even in the psychology, that the mind is at the beginning is clear. Due to the information, due to all these interactions with the universe, we started to develop impurities as dust being accumulated on the mirror. That mind started to get impure and unclean. It's very much like, as mentioned in the Vattupama Sutta, the simile of a cloth, that a cloth can be at the beginning clean. When we touch it or when we put into different places, naturally it gets some impurities. So the person, when they clean the cloth, started to get back into the true nature of it. Same way, the beginning of the mind is luminous, is clear. As we go on, we call knowledge, we started to develop these impurities. When we practice meditation, this started purifying, cleaning, improving the quality of it. As a result, that Buddha said that we can enjoy 4 benefits. The first benefit is you can have the best of your physical health. The second benefit is the person enjoys the highest mental health. Third benefit is the person enjoys a good relationship in this world. The last benefit is with the passing away, that person goes into a higher and peaceful state of being. I think in practical sense, why do we practice meditation? First thing is to have a successful, happy, peaceful life in this very life, and to do something for our society as a contribution to this humanity. Then eventually attain the highest level of liberation, freedom, or peace. With that, I will conclude my reflection on today's subject. What is the purpose of meditation, or meditation from a Buddhist point of view? Thank you for listening, and this will open to ask any questions. May you all be well and happy.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Please indicate to us questions that you may have about meditation. I'm sure some of you, most of you listening, will have some unclear points. And if you could unmute yourself and then present the question, please. So that means all you have to do is to press your unmute button, and then you can speak about questions. I'm sure some of you may have tried meditation. If I can, to begin with, while other people are thinking, ask a question. So I have come across people. I mean, I cannot say I practice meditation every day, but but some friends have asked me. I have tried to practice meditation. It's such a hard thing, and I just cannot get my mind together, even if I sit for quite some time. Hamdune, how would you, what advice would you provide to a complete beginner who wants to, who has some free time and wants to try this out? What would be the practical advice that you would provide?
Provide would be that to reflect on 4 P's. The first one is place, just to be aware of not having too disturbing environment. Sometimes even in our rooms, there may be a lot of distracting things. It also could reflect in the mind as well. And posture. The second is to reflect on the posture. When somebody develops right posture, it helps the mind to get more clarity. Even Buddha mentioned in the Satipatthana discourse that Rujung Kayang Panidaya Sating Upattapetva, which means to have the alertness, uprightness of the body helps the mind to get more clarity. And then practice. Focus on the right techniques. For example, if the person can pay attention to few minutes noticing the breath, or doing few minutes loving kindness, at least 2-3 minutes or 5 minutes meditation, in the sense of that keeping the mind in the present moment, can certainly help the person to improve the quality of the concentration, and then identify any issues. The last one is called problems. Maybe the person is not having enough sleep, or the person getting some disturbances in the relationships or at the environment. Identify the problems and get some proper advice from a teacher or someone who can guide would be very useful. So the answer to that is could be very simple and also little extended. To get proper environment and some guidance, also apply oneself with everyday regular practice would certainly help to start somewhere.
Thank you, Sadhu Sadhu. So as I understand, the brief message is keep at it. Like everything else, when you first try, it's very hard. But if you persist, then you will undoubtedly make progress. Thank you, Hamdurne. Any other questions? Please go ahead and ask. We have three eminent scholar monks who we are privileged to have. So please make good use of this opportunity.
Hello, can
Please.
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm very new in this meditation, and I try to do the Vipassana. When I'm doing the body scan, I can scan the whole body and find the sensations in every part of the body. But I have a difficulty of making it clear that which is good, which is not good, and which is neither of them. So that I cannot create this greed and what else I could say? It's rag and the wish, because that's the words I only know, that I don't create them. So if you could help me, please, on that, I'll be grateful. If you do understand what I've said.
First, we will understand the word, what vipassana means. Vi means clearly, passana means seen. English people translated this as insight meditation. Modern mindfulness teachers call this as bare attention. So the vipassana means to be insightful or barely pay attention, which means in reality to see things as they are. When you are practicing vipassana meditation, it requires a lot of stillness, calmness, and then yoniso manasikara, wise reflection, to see things clearly as they are, not as you are. See things as they are, not as you are. When you do the body scanning, which I normally use the word body scanning, which is a secular word, sometimes that what you mentioned about sensations normally we call it feeling can be manipulating, very different, is called kind of illusions, as mentioned in the original teaching. So therefore, to see that sensation in the vipassana manner, the technique we need to use is to see the three universal characteristics of that, not necessarily to chase behind the sensations to identify it, which you will not get anywhere. Neither you will get rid of any greed, ignorance, or anger, hatred. those impurities will not be removed, because we are going into a state of unknown with the awareness of the sensation. Instead, when you see things as they are, what you see is these sensations always changing, and it is called nature of impermanence. So you have to repeatedly contemplate on the nature of impermanent, and that brings you the freedom from greed, hatred, and ignorance. Then secondly, you see how much suffering, unsatisfactoriness is being generated from this. That will liberate you and make you free from the prison that we all are being in prison. The last one is being able to see this is as not me, not myself, not mine. That will open the gate to freedom or happiness, because that will not generate greed, hatred, and ignorance, which impure the mind. So the purpose, in very simple manner, that is what really Vipassana meditation is about.
Thank you.
Our Bhante would also like to make a short reflection on it.
The earlier part of this talks, the Reverend Sila Sumana gave in Sinhalese. A similar question was asked, whether one should analyze like cutting a mango and try to analyze. Your question, which is just asked now, is also similar to that. You are trying to analyze what is right and wrong and good and bad. Those are called evaluations or analysis of an evaluation. Meditation is not bringing us to analytical knowledge. Meditation is not analysis. Analysis is something else. Analysis is to make an evaluation of a particular action. And if you are meditating, you shouldn't be doing that at all. That is not the purpose of meditation. It's the purpose of evaluation and not meditation. So when you are meditating, you are having bare attention. Meditation is just to watch. That watchfulness means just to observe, but not to make conclusions. What is this and what is that and how I can know it through meditation. So this must be understood. සිංහලෙන් අහපු ප්‍රශ්නෙටත් මුලදී කිව්වේ ඒ වගේ එකක් සමානයි. මැංගෝ ගෙඩිය කපනකොට ඒක කොහොමද තද කරලා කැපුවාම හොඳට කැපෙනවද නැද්ද කියලා හිතා බලලා විශ්ලේෂණය කිරීම. So meditation, once again, is not analysis. In meditation, you don't analyze to come to a conclusion. The purpose of meditation is just to watch, have watchfulness and observation. And observation is to observe, to see, but not to analyze.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hamzarune. Thank you for the question and a very nice explanation. We have just one opportunity for just one more question if anybody asks.
Thank you all for joining this 23rd Dham Sisila program. Once again, we all had a very good, very beneficial program. Today, we all had this opportunity because of the sponsors of the day, that we do not have the sponsors to keep this program available for the next forthcoming weeks. If you wish to support, please do contact us. Today the program is being sponsored by Mrs. Anagi De Silva, and she wanted to invoke the blessings to beloved mother, Mrs. Vimala De Silva, also to invoke the blessings to beloved father, Dr. Chandrapala De Silva. Also, Mrs. Anagi De Silva want to invoke the blessings for her daughters, Dinu and Anuradha Ratnasinghe. They are doing masters in Cambridge University and Leeds University, and may those blessings be with them to do well in their masters. Also, Mrs. Anagidi Silva want to share the blessings with venerable monks, even devas, and all in the whole universe. May those blessings be with you all. May all be well and happy. Bearing this, let us say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu to transfer the merits. Akasattha cha bhummatta devānāgā mahittikā anumoditva chiran rakkantu sāsanam. Akasattha cha bhummatta devānāgā mahittikā puññantang anumoditva chiran rakkantu desanam. Akasattha ca bhummatta devānāgā mahittikā puññantang anumoditva chiran rakkantu man paranti. Idang me ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idang me ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idang me ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Please keep the palms to get the final blessings from the venerable monks. Abhivādana sīlissa niccang vaddāpachāyino cattaro dhammā vaddanti āyuvanno sukhang balam. Āyurārogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevaca ato nibbāna sampatti mināte samicchatu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. අපි කවුරුත් එහෙමනම් එකතු වෙලා ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේලා වඳින ගාථාව ඕකාස වන්දාමි භන්තේ මයා කතං පුඤ්ඤං සාමිනා අනුමෝදිතබ්බං සාමිනා කතං පුඤ්ඤං මයිහං දාතබ්බං ඕකාස ద్వාරත්තේන කතං සබ්බං අච්චයං කමතමේ භන්තේ ඕකාස කමාමි භන්තේ ဒ ුතියම්පි ඕකාස කමාමි භන්තේ තතියම්පි ඕකාස කමාමි භන්තේ.
There
සාදු සාදු සාදු. හොඳයි මේ වැඩසටහනට අද සහභාගී වෙච්ච ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටත් අපිට කාර්මික සහාය ලබා දුන්නු තුෂාන්ත මහත්මයාටත් ඒක ඔක්කොම සකස් කරපු මහාචාර්ය අරෝෂ බණ්ඩාර මහත්මයාටත් මේ කාටත් මුළු ලෝක සත්‍යයට සම්මා සම්බුදු සරණයි අපි එනසුවානේ හම්බ වෙනකම්. සාදු සාදු සාදු.